that has a similar place in Raleigh where they'll have 200 beds, I believe 200 beds, and that they accept individuals who are homeless and who are intoxicated or are high. And it's rare because usually when you're homeless, you don't have the opportunity to be housed at night if you're intoxicated or high.
Yeah, that's the model for everybody uses. We're trying to do one.
And
one down in Raleigh, and they got one in Richmond.
in Raleigh, exactly. And they're looking to do it in Richmond. I don't know if they've
They've got
broken
one in
ground yet.
Richmond, yeah.
And so they've asked, the regional jail has land next to it. And there is some discussion as to either a swap or taking a corner portion of that and using it for their facility. The upside is, one of the questions that was asked is whether you have let's say you have an officer on the street and it's midnight and he picks up somebody who's homeless, is the expectation that he's going to drive this individual to Portsmouth? And from what we understand is that is not the expectation. They are so organized, from what we understood, that they would have buses, whatever it takes, to pick up the homeless individual and deliver them to the facility, even though they may be intoxicated. So it doesn't require us having somebody leave the street or to cross jurisdictions to make the delivery. They will do it themselves. So it is in discussion phase. They have presented to us. We have gone into a session where it was discussed amongst ourselves, and the decision was to continue the discussions to see where we go. Some of the people have gone down to Raleigh and have come back very impressed. With regard, real quick, on one other issue, on the school board issue, if we could, and Tommy raised it on the committee, and what I'm looking at particularly is we got a memo that discussed Booker T. Washington, his lack of accreditation, what had occurred, but it really came across to me more like it was a press release. And I'm going to go back to the request that I had. We really should have liaisons on certain specific, very significant committees that interface somehow during the month and then can deliver back to us information. Or we really should have, especially considering the circumstances of where the schools have been recently, we really should have the ability to ask them questions. And we don't need a school board member, we just need an administrator. There's enough questions that could have been asked just on the Booker T. Washington issue. I mean, Tommy, you may know, maybe you may know, I don't know.
Well, Andy, and here's what the thoughts are in the community as well. That there should have been someone to ask and bring back the questions and concerns. Even if we can't, there's that fine line. You want to be there for the support for Booker T. Washington and Northview. But at the same time, you have Norfolk Public Schools. And if Norfolk Public Schools is, handling all of the questions and answers, then maybe somehow a liaison can come back to us and say what it is, instead of me having to, is it a good time to visit the school just to say for support and to find out what is happening, or is it okay for someone else to do it and just give us the information that is out there? Because I'm concerned, Booker T out in the paper, okay, I get the phone calls. Northview High School, what happened there, many different versions from all the citizens across the city, I get the phone call. So there's that fine line, and that was my concern.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're fine, because we really do need to have that discussion about the council's role in what is happening with the two schools and what is happening with schools in general. How do we go about that process?
Right, and it keeps it on the front burner for us. If we have it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, that we know we will have Norfolk Public Schools briefing us, and we can then ask the questions that need to be asked and provide the guidance and leadership that the school board needs. And we appoint them, at least to now. I think that we perhaps should have more of an interface. That's just my thought. I know I raised it last year, but this just caused me to raise it again.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
We'll try to. Courtney made the presentation, Doyle, at the state board on behalf of Booker T, together with Dr. King. And I talked to her going up and coming down, and maybe that's a failure here to communicate again. I've had a good conversation with Dr.
We're getting
Houston.
better already.
With Dr. Houston immediately after, the Norview thing, the very next morning, we talked about it extensively. And so we'll try to do better there. Okay.
That's good.
Kirk Houston, rather. So, all right, Mr. Ritter.
Yep, I'm a whole man.
Okay.
I just have one item, and I think Ron and Marcus informed me, we're getting ready to make a deal with the Corps or whatever on the 7.5 acres on, miles on Ocean View from Willoughby to East Beach, and it's not a generic, they have, you probably already, they have handled different contours and what have you, the beach different. We had a discussion with some of the citizens down there, Andy and I did, and Tommy and I have, so it's not just one big.
60 feet of sand, right?
So it's customized to the beach. So that anybody that, as we pass that, which is a good thing, we have spent a lot of thought in it. That's all I have, sir.
Oh, the other thing that I had was, in looking at the poverty, Commission on Poverty, and my thoughts are, is there something that the city as a whole that we have plans for about addressing hunger for those people who are having a difficult time or who may be considered in poverty on our behalf? The city, do we have plans for them with the holidays and everything coming up? It's getting cold, and I just wanted to know, what are our plans? If there's anything that we have in place to address, helping families, helping those persons who don't have a place to go. What's our role for the holidays?
I'll make sure that we pull together what we do, so we can do a category of
Okay.
that and see what opportunities we have.
I had lunch with Father
Jim and Karen.
Father Jim at St. Mary's the other day. And after the supermarket closed on Church Street, they have a food pantry there. The need just exploded. They had like 3,000 people come through in a month. I mean, they'd never seen numbers. And they can't afford it. But they're feeding all those people in there who don't have any place to go to. So they're passing the plate twice. He actually asked, is there anything we could do? Because they are becoming the food bank for the folks, especially who shopped at Tidewater Park all the time. On Church Street all the time. And I asked the manager if there was anything. I wasn't aware of anything, but this is real. So they're doing all sorts of stuff over there. But when that supermarket closed, there was no place for those. Even the ones who wanted to go didn't have any place to go.
And yeah, Paul, the question was that their pantry, they were serving 3 times the amount of people once the grocery store closed, and the question
They can't
is,
afford it all.
they can't, how can
They're messed.
we help them? Because they're seeing more and more people come in to get help.
Maybe a partnership with the food bank. The food bank is in one location, but maybe some kind of partnership where people
They
can,
clearly have outreach into all parts of our city.
I'm sorry.
They do.
They have outreach into all
Yeah,
parts
but
of our
maybe
city.
they can have one with St. Mary's. That's a.
Well, I think they have all sorts of partnerships,
Sure.
like what the church does, but at the end of the day, they still, they're putting money out of their pocket to try to do this, and they can't afford it. So, they're just not, they might handle 1,000, 3,000, they're just.
It's big.
And they don't want to turn anybody away, and the parishioners keep doling the money out. Okay, I'm sorry, that's. Angela's good.
I don't have anything. I just want to say that it was really nice to see the police department at several events, and they stayed the whole time, and that was nice. Kind of halfway through some events, you start seeing empty tables, but the chief and is it assistant chief Boone and the rest of the police officers stayed throughout. It was a couple of events that I've been to in the last couple of weeks. And they were there. Fire, I think, might have been there too. I can't remember, but the table was full the entire time. So it's good.
Couple things. Everybody should have received the Elizabeth River Project's recommendations for the branch. If you didn't receive the packet, but Marcus, I was wondering, do we have the city working with them? Because they have some really good proposals to helping the cleanup. Are we partnering with them? And okay, great. Gas prices have dropped significantly. Do we have a measure of stocking up on gas while it's cheap? And I know you're probably dancing around because we are going to make money off of that, right?
We, and Sabrina will correct me if I'm wrong, we lock into, gas prices, months in advance, so
Okay.
so,
So we're not benefiting yet.
not yet.
Okay, darn. Okay. And then finally, this is,
Say, come on up.
No.
Save money.
Hey, Sabrina, come on. This, Shannon Valentine presented, she was a former delegate, who many of you know lost her seat in Lynchburg area because what's the college there? Jerry Falwell's college. They got all the students to come out and vote her out. She presented, she's on the board for a new organization called One Virginia 2021. This is an organization, we've seen this before, where they're trying to get redistricting to be nonpartisan. And I'm presenting this to council because there's some information here, but they have asked councils around the state to support redistricting resolutions. And I actually have their language here, but I think this is something that, just looking at Norfolk and how we've been carved up and what happened to us, that we should consider getting on board with this as soon as possible and being one of the first cities to support this effort. And one of the arguments that people say is, well, we've tried this before, it's not going to happen. But this is the first time this organization has actually started this early. They have a lot of momentum going. They have a governor who actually supports this as well. And so there's lots of information here, but I just thought maybe this is something that we could really come out on very early and go ahead and send our support to them about the nonpartisan, bipartisan.
I agree. In fact, I signed on with the street. We are the
So when
poster,
would-
we are the poster child for. the need
2021,
for-
Yes.
For bipartisan redistricting.
But the more they do now, because it helps, and they've
it was
never,
such a failure last
yeah,
time.
they've really started early, and they've got a lot more support already than what they had the last time this was done. It was a different organization that did it last time. And if anybody's interested, they do have a sign-in sheet I can mail. If you want to sign this saying you support it, they'll put your name on the website saying that you support it, and I will mail that in if you're interested. You can send that around.
Just quickly, Tuesday, legislative dinner, November 4th. It looks like we have a good turnout for that. November 11th is Veterans Day, so we're closed. The next meeting is on the 18th, but I understand two members of the board of the council will be at the National League of Cities. And so we have no meeting scheduled for the 25th, but we could swap the 18th for the 25th so we get everybody here, if that would make sense. That's right, that's a few days, that's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I don't know if there are other schedules that come into play, but it'd be nice if you're gonna, would that be better for you, Marcus, if we moved it to the 25th?
It would be for us.
I mean, we can keep the 18th, but it works for me, I guess it'll, does anybody have any trouble with coming
I
on the
thought Andrew
25th?
wanted to close that whole week.
No, I want to,
No, wait,
thank you
wait,
for
don't bring
reminding
that
me,
up.
Bartlett.
Don't bring that up.
Christmas, Marcus.
So,
We're closing Christmas,
Christmas.
Christmas Day.
so we have
Or
the
just
dinner the
December.
4th,
right,
and then the 11th,
right.
we have, we're closed, Veterans Day. It's really Founder's Day. And then the 18th is,
Right now, we're scheduled to meet, but two members of the council will be at the National League of Cities meeting. We can continue to meet if we want, or we can move, we are not scheduled to meet on the 25th. We can move the meeting to the 25th and have all 8 of us here, I hope.
Is there a need for a work session on the 18th? For any reason?
I mean, for us to, I don't know if we should meet, if we know in advance 2 aren't coming. What happens if a third gets sick? And then we're down to
I
a
agree.
handful.
I think
We
you're
could
right. That's
meet
why I
early on the
asked.
25th if we needed to.
And we can, let's go to the 25th,
Yeah.
okay? You know,
What time's the dinner on the 4th?
Yes, it's right up
To
here.
6:30,
Yeah, but I'm just-
Okay.
5 to 6.
We've limited you to 10 minutes.
So, Mayor and Council, before Sabrina starts, we have 2 items left over. Both of them represent ordinances tonight. So it's just really giving you a bit of a walkthrough for the 2 ordinances. There's only one piece that it doesn't represent tonight, and that's an upcoming financing. But I believe that we can cover this pretty quickly.
Okay, so the ordinance that's being presented to you tonight is a budget amendment for our fiscal year 15 budget. And what you have in that is an additional $5 million to appropriate, and also an additional $882,500 in state and federal money for Norfolk Public Schools. And I'll get to the 882 at the end. But the available $5 million is comprised of 2 components. About 60% of it is from a one-time payment of a real estate assessment that we are about to receive. And the second component is a preliminary $2 million figure on our year-end surplus for FY 2014. The manager discussed that with you at the retreat. And when we discussed it at the retreat, we told you that it was preliminary, our books still haven't closed. They won't close until later on in November, and December we'll bring you the audit. And we're projecting a $2 million surplus. That's within 0.2% of our budget. The preliminary numbers for Norfolk Public Schools surplus is another $3.8 million, and usually we will reappropriate that to Norfolk Public Schools either by a separate ordinance or within the next year's budget, whenever they request it. The use of the $2 million, as we discussed during the retreat, was to put $1 million towards a risk management reserve and $1 million towards the economic downtown reserve. As you recall, there are 3 reserve sources that the city has. One is the unassigned general fund reserve, second is the risk management, and the third is the economic downturn. And you passed financial policies back in 2013 saying that any surplus above $2 million, once it meets thresholds, will go towards the reserves once we achieve structural balance. Well, the FY15 budget is structurally balanced, and I thank you for agreeing to put $2 million in our reserves. The unassigned general fund reserve is at $42 million. We're required to have at least $41 million. That doesn't mean we have $41 million sitting around. That's a point in time at June 30th that we must have at least $41 million sitting there. The risk management, once we add this $1 million, will go up by another $1 million. We'll be shy of $1 million of our goal for $5 million, and the same for economic downturn.
Are the other 2 actually sitting in pots invested?
Yes,
Okay, so
Yes.
I understand, so risk management, economic downturn is invested.
yes,
All right, okay, at some point offline, can you tell me where and how?
sure.
So Sabrina, the school system, they knew they were getting that additional funds, and I believe they've already decided how they were gonna spend
The
that.
3.8?
No, the 800,000.
Yes.
They knew it was coming, and I think they needed nurses and some other
Yes,
things.
that's the last
Yep.
slide.
Okay.
Right, and even though, I mean, it looks like that we have money, according to the bond rating agencies, our reserves are kind of low, so we do need to continue to strengthen them. Some of your discussions during the meetings have indicated there are several areas you want to support more, and so the one-time use of the $3 million, I believe you want to dedicate it towards schools and mostly neighborhoods. So there's $750,000 that we're dedicating towards Norfolk Public Schools, primarily aimed at the Morey ceiling repair, open campus academy, and any other needs that are identified by them. Also, you wanted to put some money towards the Poverty Commission to implement their recommendations of $500,000. And then again, bolstering neighborhoods for the Recreation Master Plan to start the Poplar Hall Recreation Center planning, the Bay Oaks Park, and the Boxing Center. You also expressed an interest in providing more training for police officers and CSB for crisis intervention and community officers of $400,000. And you also wanted to increase our streetlights out there in the city. So that's $400,000. And improvements to Chelsea neighborhood for another $100,000. And you also wanted to increase the number of Norfolk residents that attend Norfolk State University by giving them some scholarship money of about $100,000. So the 882 in Norfolk Public Schools. Now, if you recall, the state hadn't passed the budget in May when we passed our budget. They didn't pass it until July. So once it was passed, the Commonwealth updated their projections for Norfolk Public Schools, and they provided them another $382,000. Norfolk Public Schools also revised their Medicaid reimbursement rate of another $500,000, so it's a total of $882,000. They want to spend it with reading and math specialists at Booker T. Washington and school nurse positions, and then about $677,000, $500 for Open Campus Academy. So,
There was an article in the Daily Press in the Hampton Peninsula today that talked about additional monies that the schools were getting because they were getting more federal money than they anticipated because they lost some money from sequestration. And I mean, schools were coming up with large numbers over there. Is some of that part of this, the federal money?
no,
Larger?
this is just strictly Medicaid reimbursement that, based on FY14.
Well, I mean,
amounts.
every community on the peninsula got more money from the feds than they thought. It would be good to go back and see what our systems are. Okay. Just one thing, down in the fine print of what you sent us about this, the $100,000 for Norfolk State was, we talked about $60,000
For scholarships.
for Norfolk students.
Yes.
It doesn't say that. I mean, it just says 60,000 of scholarships, so I want to make sure.
Sure.
The message is Norfolk, I know you just said it, but I couldn't find it in writing,
Okay,
okay? As well as there was some money for the discretionary fund.
we'll write it into the contract.
Okay.
Could we also just have some written updates on how that money's actually being spent and when it's being spent?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just, Paul, when you start looking at the poverty stuff, I heard that at the open campus, there's a need for a child care center there for the students that are going there. So when you're looking at the poverty stuff, that might
Right
be
in line.
something to talk to, because they do have quite a few students that have children that they don't have daycare for them.
That's a great,
Right up.
And in a final few minutes, George just has a quick update for what we're doing with smart processing.
In 4 minutes, can we give this the time it deserves?
Pass, George.
I'm going to limit, if you don't mind, to talking about the one item that's on your agenda tonight, which is the one-time event or special event permitting. You all may recall, back in December, we had a little bit of unfortunate press, and that started us thinking about whether or not our processes actually aligned with being the fun city that we want to be and making Norfolk the best place to live, work, and play on a daily basis. So we began to think about things we could do that would protect public safety, but make it clear that we are a fun place and that we want our residents to have safe and rewarding opportunities. One of the things that we came up with is we looked at the special events. Those were the ones that we heard about last year, and we have come up with a process that we're going to ask you to adopt tonight. It's part of R2, and this will make life a whole lot easier for people who want to have events, but it will also guarantee that the people who attend the events will be safe and kept out of harm's way. So first of all, what is a special event? It has to meet all 4 of these criteria. It has to be open to the public, it has to be on private property, it provides entertainment and/or alcohol, and it will have more than 25 attendees. Typical office party, things like that, are not special events. They do not go through this process. They never have needed to. They won't now. These are things that are open to and involve the public. The policy proposal is to, and you have copies of the application in front of you, is to create a short form application, allow people to let us know anywhere from 2 weeks, hopefully at least 2 weeks in advance, but we can take it as little as 72 hours in advance, so that between the fire department, the police department, our building safety folks, we can make sure that the venue is appropriate and safe for what the folks want to do. And we can help people make it safe, so that they can have the event they want to have, and that we're being proactive on the front end as opposed to reactive on the back end. The policy you have in front of you tonight would allow a maximum of 4 events on any single property per year. Would provide the authority to terminate an event if it's not conducted in accordance with the plan that the people have proposed. And it also allows the city manager to establish a fee schedule for that. It hasn't been finally decided, but our thinking is that we're talking about no more than $25 application fee for one of these events if done on time. And if it's a late application, no more than $75. We'd like to at least start at that rate and see what happens.
Is this the same as third-party events? Or is this something different?
The third-party promotion, different.
Okay.
And that's it in a nutshell. If you've got any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
George, there was a craft beer event off 21st Street this weekend, close to the Fresh Market, but in a small parking lot. Number of craft, and it looked like it had a great crowd. Was that permitted?
That would be the sort of thing that would have been permitted, and I believe
Right.
that one was, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, because I thought you might.
We're trying to make it easier.
What about a store that wants to just have an open house and they serve wine? Remember, like a clothing store?
Sure. Yes, that would be an example of the sort of thing that this special event permit would cover. And
So
and I should,
those people would have to get a special event permit.
yeah, and I also
And
mentioned.
how are you notifying places of this?
Well, we're gonna work with Lori and Bob to get the word out. A lot of people already know about it, and we've actually started receiving applications.
So if the
DNC
store,
perhaps?
We'll get the word out through all of the civic leagues, and all of the normal usual suspects of contacts that we use, to spread the word on things. We may miss a few, and we're not gonna be punitive about that. Our goal is to work with folks and just make sure that we have a safe, healthy, fun environment here in the city of Norfolk.
Is there a cost?
25 is what we've been talking about. It's up to the city manager to set those fees, and it has not happened as of yet.
How does that coincide with the special event license that people have to get with the Commissioner of Revenue's office? Because the Commissioner of Revenue's office
Right, 5 people.
requires a special event license as well, which is $50.
I don't know. I will try to find that out in the next minute.
Best answer is that's money that we don't know about.
Yes, so the Commissioner of Revenue collects that?